everybody. I am Adina, and welcome to Beyond the Veil. Around here, we do mediumship readings and crazy lady and gentleman things. So, if that is not your thing, and if you're hostile to that environment or this environment, I invite you peacefully to escort yourself out and find a community that is like minded to you. And if you are open to what I do around here, welcome. I hope that you find a welcoming community over here amongst the Busted Babies, as we call ourselves. And I am Big Mama Busted because I busted the most and the best. And welcome to my regular subscribers and viewers, my Busted Babies. Hey, Sissy. Hey, Jess. Hello, ladies. Happy Tuesday. Happy day of Mars to you guys. How are you? Please, as you enter into the chat, let me know how you're doing today. If nobody asks you how's your day going, I want to be the one to ask, and I want you to really tell me. Because I'm a bust first. I'm always bust first. Hey, Big Mama Tierra, Gothic Hippie on the lippy. Good, Tierra. And do, Sissy, and do. You at work? Okay, honey. I hope work is treating you well. Speaking of Vegas, my cousin texted me this morning showing me some guy that wants to take her to see Jeezy, ironically, in Vegas on December the 21st. And I thought about you. My day has been great, Jess. I won't say amazing, but it's been great, and I have no complaints whatsoever. I listed my uncle and aunt's property that they built and they've been in for 30, well, since 1991. And I put it up on the market yesterday. It went live, and everybody's emotional. Everybody in the family is emotional about it. They just send a text saying that they want to do Thanksgiving down there. Because I guess, anyways, but so, and it's also my uncle's birthday. So we went live with his house on the market on pretty much on his birthday. So I went down there to have them sign a couple of more documents, and everybody's happy. Everybody's in good spirits. And so off we go. Next step, open house. Let's talk Gucci. Scoochie Burr. Okay. Now, in the recent events, post his interview, or I will say his wife's interview with the Breakfast Club, they're excited. Their kids are emotional. Post his wife's interview at the Breakfast Club, there has been a lot of back and forth between his wife, Keisha Kaur, and Nicki Minaj. And I was just thinking amongst it all, two things. First of all, who's the celebrity here? Who did we come to see? Is it Otis or is it David? Because the interview was led pretty much by Keisha Kaur, his wife. She spoke about Gucci. She kind of spoke for him. She spoke of him. And then even the aftermath had a lot to do with her. A lot of people are talking about his recent social media posts and how it seems to be written by her. I can see that. I can definitely see it being written by her because last night when I was on my 420 break, you guys know well, you probably don't know, but I like to sit outside, have a random video playing in the background, and play stupid games on my phone. It's actually a Yahtzee game that I play on my phone, and I have my 420 break. And it was a video that someone did about, actually, let me tell you guys what the video was and who did it, because I always cite my sources. The video was called I hope I can find it. Okay. It's by Trap House Kitchen, and it's called Rap Oath Gucci Mane, Lady Exposed Industry Handler. And the video was documenting interviews and instances where Keisha Kaur, Gucci Mane's wife, appeared to be his handler. Now, that shouldn't be news to anyone here, because the first time I read Gucci Mane's label last year, that came up for me. And we discussed it in that live. And so I also think I have mentioned in like a random other live, I might have brought up Gucci Mane as an example of some things that I've seen in my readings about prisoners and what they experience. Some of them experienced while being locked up, having various procedures and experiments done on them and things like that. Some that they may not even remember after it's happened. And in that video that I just cited, Keisha Kaur was doing an interview, and she was talking about how she does handle Gucci Mane. She talked about how she pretty much controls his social medias, his business, and all this other stuff. And she mentioned how she can tell when he is having an episode. And she says that he'll kind of be short with her and act as though he doesn't like her or he doesn't want her around him. And she'll say things like, well, that's not a way that you talk to your wife. And then she says she'll snap her fingers and bring him out of it. Now, that to me, in my experience, and I won't document my experience, but in my experience and in my opinion, based on my experience, that is a sign of someone who is, for one, under a couple of layers of things. One of them being some form of alternative programming, and also some form of medically induced sedation in order to keep that alternative programming intact. That's where the sedation and the medication come in at. To keep a person from kind of accessing their main core persona, or in just to keep them in the sunken place. And it seems as though Gucci has moments where he comes out of the sunken place and he rebels against his handlers, the main one being his wife, because she says he'll be short with me and he'll say mean things to me. And she gave an example of some of those mean things. And some of those were like, I don't want you, I don't like you. And then she said, and I'm quoting an interview that I saw in that video, she said, I will say, that's not how you talk to your wife. And she'll say, and that's when I'll say to him, you're sick. You're having an episode. And then she says, he'll say things like, no, I'm not. I'm not sick and I don't need to take any meds. And she says that she will reiterate, no, you're not behaving like Gucci. You are sick. And she says she knows how to get him out of it at the snap of a finger. Now, the people interviewing her didn't ask her to elaborate on exactly what that is, but she says at the snap of a finger, she knows how to fix him. And I think this was a Breakfast Club interview. It might have been a previous one, an older one. But they asked her what made her stick around instead of running like most people would when he's having these episodes. And she says, I ain't going nowhere. And she says she felt like he needed fixing. She said, and I wanted to fix him, amongst other things that she said. But she said, I wanted to fix him and I could fix him. And that was interesting to me as well. She explained an instant, um, because that's how they got into asking her about what it's like when Gucci Man is having his episodes. Now, mind you, Gucci is sitting right there next to her, silent, as if he's programmed to be silent and not speak in this moment. Just. And she was like, well, the first time it happened, because they asked her if she gets scared when it happens. And she was like, the first time, I don't, but it is a scary situation, but I'm not scared. So she's obviously someone that is very much in control of this situation, and she wants to be in control of the situation. And she said the first time it happened, she called his lawyers, she called his manager, and she called his security, and she said, I quote, we pretty much kidnapped him. She called the people who handled him business wise and made an executive decision behind his back to take him to a facility because he was rebelling against her. She said he was saying he didn't want to be with her. He didn't want, all this other stuff. And so she called his manager, his attorney, and she said, we got a number of his security guards. And she said he was fighting. And she said we pretty much had to put him in the middle. She even described, she said, we had to put him in the middle of the car and we had to force him. And it was scary because he was really trying to get out, but we had to kidnap him. And then she said she took him to the facility and they said, oh, so like a Baker Act. This is what the Breakfast Club said. And then she said, well, they gave him the authority to sign himself out, I think, after 72 hours. But she said that she told them, no, I am his wife and he's not going anywhere. And so I was listening to that interview and I was like, child, well, I don't think that the handler accusations really bother her. I mean, I wouldn't assume that they did because she has spoken as if she assumes that position, rightfully so. And in the midst of all these conversations that came up on behalf of Gucci Mane's alleged interview with the Breakfast Club, which was his wife's, Gucci Mane is a celebrity. And everybody knows that after he went to prison, because or preceding him rebelling and going online and kind of saying F this person, which isn't crazy to me. Somebody being fed up with the situation and saying, fuck it. I'm finna let everybody have it. Fuck you, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you. That doesn't scream crazy to me. It doesn't. It might scream drug induced with a little bit of a motive, but it doesn't give me crazy. Crazy is a serial killer to me. Tell me why you killing mass people. You know what I'm saying? Tell me why when you were little, it started off with you killing animals and then it proceeded to you stalking human beings and killing them. That is crazy. Taxation and everybody going along with it. I mean, that's a sunken place, a mass. I mean, there are things that I think are crazy. But going online and telling the world how you really feel about people doesn't give me crazy. And when she stepped in and facilitated him being taken, because he wasn't just taken to prison. He was taken to a medical facility as well, and she supported that. Lets me know that the reason why she was invested in him crashing out and him even not wanting to be with her, because, well, there was a lifestyle at stake. That's what she stands to benefit from handling Gucci, the lifestyle. What else is she gonna what else is she gonna do if not be Gucci Mane's wife? And if she controls everything and all he does is go out there and record music and make money, but then she controls everything on the back end and the front end and everything else, his job is to go out there and be Gucci Mane. That's it. Well, she reaps a lot of the benefits of that, and I don't think he's coherent enough to be in a state for somebody to say, I'm in an equally yoked relationship with someone. When she has stated she's taken on the role, she even said it's kind of like having to mother him. That gives me really weird, I'm going to say, vibes from her. But it brings me to want to check in on Gucci. Since his prison stint and his transformation afterwards, what has life been like for Gucci? And I'm going to start this reading for asking, what has life been like for Gucci since he did that iconic rant, or I won't say iconic, infamous rant that preceded his prison sentence. So let's go. I'm actually going to drink some agua. Members, we will have a members live right immediately after this. Most High Mother and Father God, thank you for this Tuesday and this day of Mars. Thank you for YouTube for being such a gracious platform for hosting me and my shenanigans with my friends. Please allow me to conjure up the spirit, soul, and collective energy of Roderick Davis, better known as Gucci Mane. Burr. Instantly in my mind, all I see are the women around him. His ex-girlfriend, Mac Breezy, she just went on Tasha K and did an interview. You got Keisha Kaur doing interviews advocating for mental health on the strength of Gucci Mane, and also advocating for herself in a beef with Nicki Minaj. So instead of seeing Gucci, I see the women surrounding him currently. Spirit, please allow me to conjure up the spirit, soul, and collective energy of Gucci Mane. Compel him to come from wherever he is and speak to me from his soul's perspective. I sense his wife. She wants to escort him, but I compel the spirits to keep her out. I do not want to speak to Keisha Davis. Roderick Davis, Gucci Mane. Roderick Davis, Gucci Mane. Roderick Davis, Gucci Mane. She had, in my opinion, because I have to say everything is my opinion, she has a temper, but it's very controlled. It's not like she lashes out and yells. No, 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 no. When she gets upset with him, she institutes her authority, I believe, in my opinion. The first time I am hearing Gucci, I hear help, help, help. Wet 'em up like Mike Phelps did his seatbelt. Hey, that's one of my gem songs. Anyways, help, just a faint help. When I mentioned to the spirits to not allow Keisha to come in, On behalf of Gucci, I actually did see a temper tantrum. That's why I said she has a temper, but I see it from a spiritual perspective. No, 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 no. That's what I see. But in the physicality, I wouldn't see something like that. I would see something like, but I'm his wife and I have every right to be here. I'm also his power of attorney. That's how it would come out. But if someone were to challenge and say, no, we don't want to, we want to speak to Gucci alone in this room without you, she would, I think it would come out like, well, I'm his power of attorney and his wife. So I will be with him. But on the inside, it would be like, bitch, how dare you try to speak to him without me? Spirits, compel Gucci Mane from wherever he is to speak to me. Gucci, Roderick Davis. Roderick. I am to call him Roderick because everybody else calls him Gucci, including his wife. So I will call him Roderick. I think calling him Roderick is a trigger because it makes him remember himself. Roderick, the last time people believe you to be normal was before you went to prison. What was like, how have you been since prison? And what were you like before then when you went on that infamous rant? You soon after went to prison and then had some medical intervention. And you've been a changed man since then, to say the least. How did this change come about? Starting with your infamous rant, how did your current circumstances come about? And what has life been like for you? Have you been well and good? I um I think that Gucci is in the sunken place. You see this in reverse? Now it's a page. So this would tell me that his initial thoughts, comments, and reactions, specifically thoughts, might be in the sunken place. So, for instance, what he really thinks and feels, he is not able to express. But this isn't a permanent state. So he can be triggered into expressing his truth. But it seems as though that's when people say he's sick, when he starts being upright. Today, though, the challenge is the sun, clarity, coming alive into his core, solar core. The solar plexus is right here in your core. Okay? Coming into his core, his whole self is the challenge. Not just for him, but for others, it seems. When he does come out of his sunken place, he is kind of childlike. But that's because of the heavy tampering. Kanye, Britney, it's been many of them that have been like this. It's been many for since the inception of Hollywood and control, since they start doing MK Ultra experiments in the 60s and experimenting with celebrities. I think that when he comes into his core self, he comes in and he's very childlike. And I remember Keisha Kaur, you guys watch this interview because it has a lot of her interview in her own words. It's by Trap House Kitchen. It's called Rap Oath, Gucci Man, Lady Exposed, Industry Handler. It has a lot of her raw interviews, but she even said that sometimes he can be really childlike in his mannerism and his speaking, and that's when she know he's having an episode. But to me, what she calls an episode is him snapping out of his programming and his handling, and it happens. I think they've gotten a handle over it happening so often randomly, but it still happens, I believe, spontaneously. And I don't know if he has any of his family around, but if so, the only ones that are around are the ones that go with the program. Nobody who wants to see the old Gucci or the Gucci that they knew. Nobody who's going to say, we don't like or we don't understand what this real Gucci is, like his mother. I don't think his mother is around. And if she is, she'd want to, while nobody's looking, in a moment of privacy, be like, baby, Roderick, come back. She probably say things to try to trigger him. So I feel like old family and friends and stuff, maybe even old environments, if not surrounded by people who know how to handle him, may trigger him into remembering himself and remembering that he before he went to prison, he didn't like any of this stuff, which is why he went on the rant. He went on a rant against the industry, and people do that when they say fuck the industry and fuck all of this. But Gucci Mane was lucrative to somebody who felt like, hey, let's not throw the baby out with the bathwater. I can handle him so that we can all still. Past position. No, we know what this is. This is the union with Keisha Kaur. This isn't my marriage card. This is a Gemini card. Marriage card for me, my traditional marriage card is the Hierophant, Ten of Cups. This is a union, but it's more of a contractual one, which is why it's a Gemini card. The Lovers, you would think it's a Venus card. Gemini. There's a choice here between two able-bodied people. However, there's something bigger than them in between them here. The woman is looking up. The man is looking at her. The woman is looking at the bigger program. The man looks at her. So this is like a visual representation of their situation. Now, seeing it in the past tells me it's the foundation of how Gucci Mane became to be who he is now. That's what the past position in this spread is meant to do. Give me a background foundation of how we got here today. I thought I was going to see his rant. No. She follows the program that he's under, and he follows her. See where they're looking? Him, her, up. Gucci Mane is being programmed, or I'll say Team Gucci, the Wobsters, are being programmed to defend his wife right now. So that's what's going on. Keisha Kaur is on the defense, and that's what Gucci Mane is. I said I didn't want to see her, and now I do. Since this came into the picture, now she's here. reading his present energy and his moving forward energy, because that's the rest of the spread. But at the foundation is where I see his situation here. Then we go to, well, how did his situation get to this? How is he challenged by his core persona? Well, and so meanwhile, in the future, moving back to present times, somebody's currently on the defense against Nicki Minaj and all her fans. Even though they stand alone in all of this and on a hill, so there is no real battle. There's no real battle because all these people, you could choose to not care. You're up on a hill and the only person around you is you. These are online comments and stuff that bother her. So that's where Gucci is right now. I don't know, but I have his wife now defending herself from things that she sees online, conversations like that she doesn't like. Crowning Gucci, now here's the crash out. So the last thing he remembered, or the last thing his core remembered about how he truly felt, was in that rant. Because that's in his crowning position. So the last thing his core remembers are the things that he said in that rant. And that he felt like F the industry and everybody that I was around, including Keisha Kayor, because he said things about her too. And she said that she knows he's sick when he starts saying nasty things towards her. Well, that's what he said in that original rant. She was one of the people that he said some nasty things against. And then immediately after that, Gucci was changed and they were glued to the hip. So why is it that when he says things like, I don't like you, why does that mean he's sick? Because in his crown, I believe he meant what the fuck he said in that rant. And I believe if he never was sedated and castrated and whatever in prison, then we wouldn't have a Gucci Mane in the industry right now. Because he burnt those bridges then. Keisha stepped in and saved the day to maintain the situation. He meant what he said in that rant. That came from his soul's truth. When he went on social media and said this about this person, this about this person, that about that person, that about that person, that about that person, that was divine inspiration. That was his soul's truth. Swear for God. Swear for God. Meant what I said. But somebody wants us to believe that he just was having an episode and didn't mean any of it. But it looks like he absolutely did. Came out of nowhere to us, but to him, it was his soul's swear for God truth. Fuck all these people. Reminds me of me reading Soulja Slim and Soulja Life Mentality, and then him being unalived immediately after releasing that. Released in 2001, unalived in 2003. Child. But they meant it. They meant what they said. Gucci's present position, how he sees himself. Now look at that. Strength in reverse. Being forcefully subdued by this woman here who handles this lion. The problem is, whenever he snaps out of it, he growls at her. Why? Because she has her hands around his mouth trying to shut it, but she's wearing white as if she's doing it in the name of purity, innocence, and his well-being, but she's still trying to shut his mouth. In reverse, it becomes more forceful. And whenever he gets an opportunity to open it, he might try to bite her. And she has to use extra strength now to force this lion. Now his mouth is attached to his head. So she has her hands on her mouth, but on his mouth, but really on his head. She controls his head. And whenever he can snap out, he lashes at her because she is the main controller. So of course, whenever he becomes lucid, he is going to hate you the most. He's going to hate you the most whenever he becomes lucid because you are the main one and the first one to force him. Force his mouth back shut. Look, shut your mouth. And the tongue wagging out like he's sedated and slow. Poor Kingdom. Poor Kingdom. This time it ain't the industry that got him. They'd let him go after the rent. She said, I'll fix him for all of us. He can still be saved. He can still be lucrative. Y'all put that thing on him that y'all do. That zzz. Put that thing on him. Give him some plastic surgery while y'all in there. Clean him up, and I'll handle the rest. Allegedly. Mia built for this. Mia put some Obeah on him, too. They said, oh, yeah, we trust her. She know that woo shit, too. You want to take on anybody else? You want to take on any other clients? And she didn't at first, but now she's trying to pull the people in to gather up on Nicki Minaj. Not trying to recruit handlers. External energy, how the world see Gucci, happily married. But little do we know, like my niece used to say, shut your mouth. Shut your mouth. But this is what we see. Hey, Gucci. Hey, Keisha. Hey, the Wobsters. Hopes and fears. When Gucci is lucid, he fears that he's never going to get out. And unfortunately, I don't believe he will. Nope. Look, this is Gucci Mane's outcome. Now ask yourself why the devil would be Gucci Mane's outcome. Look, the same two people here and the same third party here. Ooh. What may have come into the picture in the form of a divine union actually is a means of control. The ultimate control. You got this and this. This is how Gucci sees himself. This is Gucci's outcome. You guys want to start with the devil? I just said, based on this, I don't think he's ever going to get out. Look. This night ain't going nowhere. And there's the outcome. What might look like this? Nah. Bondage. Control. Another one bites the dust. And another one down. And another one down. Another one bites the dust. Hey, hey, hey. Another one bites the dust. I'm not joyous about this, but as a medium, I do need some nourishment though, just to keep the energy in my body. He's mentally screwed, and everybody around him knows how to handle him. But when he comes to, he really wants to leave. but then they know the triggers. Whoever he's around, it's usually somebody around that knows the triggers. I don't think he's in uncontrolled environments too much, obviously. We'll start there and work our way on back. El Diablo, show yourselves. You guys know what this card is? You know what the zodiac sign for this card is? Capricorn. Google it. Google. Go to Google and type in, what is the zodiac sign for the Devil Tarot card? You know what's going to come up? Capricorn. What sign is his wife? Put that in Google too. Then tell me what you find. Because I cite my sources. And then I let you go and do the research on your own. Capricorn. What sign is his wife? I have Google right here. Do I? I can. Keisha Kaor. January 10th is her zodiac sign. I mean, it's her birthday. Now, what zodiac sign is the Devil Tarot card? I know most of you know, but you know, a lot of you guys don't. Oh my. Oh me, oh my. What zodiac sign is the devil? Capricorn, ruling planet Saturn. Now let's go back to what I was just looking at. Keisha Kaor. January 10th. Keisha Kaor. Hey. Okay, so I won't look up the zodiac sign for January 10th because you guys should already know that and you can find that yourself, but I was just showing you my sources. That's his outcome. Now look at them and then look at that. Who could this be in this devil card? Anyways, I mean, I don't make this stuff up. The spirits do. I just report live. L, and where you from? You say Capricornio. Capricornio. Oh, you guys, while you're here, I forgot in my last live to remind you guys that I did announce my annual end of the year blockbuster / road opening ceremony. Speaking of Capricorn season, it is November the 19th. It is a group ceremony, so it's discounted to $50 so that everybody can participate. If you have never participated before, that means you don't have my contact information, how to like text me directly. So email me at beyondtheveiladina@gmail.com if you like to participate. Anybody else, you already know how to contact me. The last day to join is Tuesday, November the 18th, and the ceremony is Wednesday, November the 19th. Go back to my live before last if you want me to explain what that ceremony is. Anyways, Capricorn, the devil. Tuesday the 18th, Tiara. Speaking of the devil, we're going to get him up out of here. Y'all know, I actually was telling y'all that I have been doing work for some clients who are the reason I remembered to do this ceremony, because the government had come in various forms. Some of them had lost their SNAP. Somebody had got hit up by the student aid, federal student loan people. Somebody else had gotten hit up by the IRS, and based on what I saw, they were shaking everybody down. And so I had been doing work for those clients, and then immediately after my work, they released the SNAP benefits. So you're welcome. Anyways, so this ceremony, I will specifically be aiming and targeting you guys' pockets when it comes to these institutions. This card may remember to remind you guys of the ceremony. All right, the devil for Gucci. Why is this your outcome, Gucci? Is he a Gemini? Let me see what his zodiac sign is. Gucci, main zodiac sign. Aquarius. Poor Kingdom. It's the devil because he is in the sunken place. Now, ironically, this is a card of self. It's called I Am. This is a card of self, one's true self, one's natural, truest form. His core self is his challenge position, and behind his outcome with the devil is him, but not being in his full faculties and capacity. Now, ironically, Gemini cards. This isn't just not being in your right mind. This is also a card that will come up for black magic. Now, both of these together, if I were reading, if somebody said, do I have a hex on me? And I pulled these together like I do here, then I would say abso-fucking-lutely. I would say absolutely. You got somebody trying to bind and fuck you up permanently. Together, I'd rather see the death card, because even death brings relief. This, though, as the outcome with this behind it, constriction. Binding. And the person doing it is a handler. They run team. Ironically, this is a Cancer card. So Cancer is the mother and the most maternal of all the zodiac signs. So it would tell me that he's being run by a maternal figure in his life. Look at this. Another duality here. Husband-wife. Husband-wife. Husband what? Last one for the devil. The man is gone, and they keep him gone. Everybody around him are the ones who know the words, the trigger words, to trigger him back to the new Gucci. Poor Kingdom, because this is him. Poor Kingdom. I actually would like to see the why he's never going to get out, because this will tell me the method behind how he's stuck like this. here's Gucci, and here's the mother of, well, the children that we usually get to see. Because he has another child, but we only see him with his family with Keisha. This tells me that Gucci has a job here, and his job is just to row the boat for the woman in the family. That's it. He doesn't even get to sit down with them and have somebody else row them together. So it's almost like he's not really a connected part of the family. He's just the one that's supposed to get them from point A to point B. And when his swords are all in the boat with the woman and the children, when they're all gathered together with her, that's when he can do his job. As long as she has all the swords. And swords represent communication and thought. It's the air sign. So it represents mental faculties as well. Another sword, she has all the triggers so that when he does mount his horse and try to charge when he has the moment of clarity, she knows how to knock him off, allegedly, of his action in his horse and in his train of thought. But he does lash out when he becomes clear. Why? Did a lot of shit just to live this here lifestyle. Doesn't this look luxurious? This is a luxurious card. It's meant to give luxury. And notice it's only one person in this card, and it's a 9. So that is why Gucci will never get out. As long as he's lucrative and able to do his job. Now, if the powers that be were willing to partner with Keisha and invest into Gucci, then that means, and to make sure that he still is successful and lucrative, even though his artists on his label always die, go to prison, or don't end up making big hits, but they're still able to live a good life, lets me know that there is an effort, or there is a use for Gucci Mane. Now, this brings me back to the first reading I ever did of him and the business of his label and the setup involved with these artists and how they look for certain people that they know are prone to self-destruction, so that sometimes they don't have to help it along, but they do. Prone to self-destruction means impoverished and with no discernible talent. And in the street life, addicted and all of that stuff, they'll put some money behind you and take out all kind of policies on those rappers. And they just sign them, suck whatever they can out of them, and then they fall by the wayside, rinse, wash, and repeat. But they're nobody's Rock Nation. They're nobody's Young Money, Cat, and they're none of that. But the fact that they're able to maintain and still have this business and invest in keeping Gucci Mane lucid enough to make money, because they do invest. They are in on handling him. The music business. Oh, this is nasty. I don't like rating them. I'm going to speed up so I can get to my members live because I'm hungry. How he sees himself. It's like His whole entire world revolves around this woman who controls his march to the beat of her drum, which is why she's holding drumsticks. And all of the powers that be, manager, doctors, attorneys, all of them, they all work in a concerted effort, and she's the one with the boots on the ground to handle him. But why does this come out as force? Because that's what this is in reverse: violence and force. A lack of self-autonomy. Y'all see all of that? Gucci's existence revolves around his partnership. Almost look at all these. Look at all, and these are all major arcanas except for this one. Otherwise, he would have been out of the industry when he went on that infamous rant. He would have been out. But when he went to prison, he also got medicated, and that's where he became this man here on the crutch, and she became his hidden widow because she doesn't have a real husband. She's just there for him to follow behind so that they can keep some coin coming. Oh dear, I am going to look into, I will look into the lovers in the past. Yeah, let me look into the lovers in the past, because that's when her new role in his new life began. He went on that rant against the industry and was basically like committing career suicide. And then they said he had an episode, but the problem is that she stepped in to salvage those relationships with those people that he was trying to destroy. And then said he didn't mean it. He was just having an episode. But no, he meant that shit. He didn't mean it. He was just having an unchecked episode. And that's where this came in. But why do I think he meant it? He meant it. He wasn't cool with these people anymore, or didn't care to be cool with them anymore. But his Capricorn wife here, greed, materialism, control. And she stepped in to fix him. All right, the last thing I want to look at, sadly, is his core self, because that's the challenge. It's in the challenge position. I think it's the biggest challenge for her. And it's a challenge for him because getting back aligned with it is a challenge. And when he does, he gives off signs so that alerts her before he can fully get into himself and she can catch it. She said she can tell certain things, and it lets him know that he's having an episode, but that's him stepping back into himself like a newborn baby. All he needs is a good week or so with a good hearty meal without his handlers and all that other stuff, and he could resettle. He could resettle or start recovery. It's like somebody lords over him, and he is in a far, far gone away place like a hermit. Getting back to himself is like a journey for him that he continuously tries to do. He's always looking for his soul. Now, this is an Aquarius card, the star. Ironically, where did I put it? Because I pulled it. The star. Where are you? There you are. This is an Aquarius card, but this star is trapped in a cage now, in a lantern. And he's continuously looking to get back to himself, his Aquarius core self. But it's a journey because of the medication. And because he's legally bound, she's his power of attorney, she's his wife, so that's another legal contract. So she owns and controls everything, including his medical life and his medical situation. She has the rights to keep him sedated. The only way I can describe this card is to say nasty work. This woman, 2 times I have a woman show up because I asked for her not to show up, but she has to. She's in reverse both times. Not nice. And here she is, the Empress in reverse. Not nice. This isn't a woman who's doing what she does to nurture and support her husband. When he starts to come to and say things about her, she knows the things to say. That's not nurturing, that's controlling. So his ending is the Empress in reverse, and his outcome is the Devil. That's how Gucci Mane is, and that's how I believe he shall be. If anyone would like to challenge me, let's bet. Whoever dies first out of us, if Gucci Mane, when we die, is still alive and he's still in the same predicament he's in, then you got to leave something to my heirs. And if he's free and sober-minded and back to himself and hasn't left the spotlight, limelight, and went and lived off the grid without his wife and all of that with his mama, then I'll donate $5,000 to yours. But I don't think I'm going to lose. It's my opinion. It's my opinion. Because the Devil is his outcome, and there were many other factors in there that contributed to me thinking. And she said in her interview, I ain't going nowhere. So, with that being said, I would say prayers for Gucci, but mm-mm, mm-mm, mm-mm. So good luck to that man and that lady and them people. Members, see y'all in our members live. The rest of y'all, I might see y'all tomorrow. I might take a break and then come back Thursday. We'll see. Either way, love you, bye.